First post here, and I'm struggling to answer things my husband brought up in our recent marriage counseling session. I'll give some of our backstory. 2.5 years ago, I had a 6-month affair with a coworker. My AP's wife found out, contacted my husband, and showed him all the evidence she had. That first year, I did everything wrong. I trickled truth to him, minimized my actions, blamed him, and anything else except myself. I had blown up my life and was desperate. I played the victim to our friends and family. My husband, who I ignored, snapped, confronted my AP, and attacked him at my job. I even used that against him. He's a monster. During this time, my husband and the other betrayed spouse were in constant contact. They became close friends. About a year ago, he told me he was going on a vacation that we had planned. He went completely no contact for 5 days. When he got home, he told that he had went with the OBS and they slept together. Also, that he wanted a divorce. This snapped me out of it because I realized that I was losing everything. I stupidly thought that my affair would blow over and it would be a rough patch we'd laugh about in 30 years. Yes, I know how awful and delusional that makes me sound. When he told me what he had done and wanted a divorce, my house of cards came crashing down and the reality of what I had done hit me. It really didn't dawn on me until that what I had done could cost me him and our family. I begged him for a chance to make things right. I read everything I could about affairs, helping your spouse, stated IC, admitted to everyone the lies I told. Things had been going much better until this recent MC session. My husband downplays his affair. He's apologized that he hurt me and admits it technically wrong, but he compared it to punching someone back after they hit you, that it would never had happened if I hadn't cheated first. He also says it was 95% about himself regaining what my affair took from him as a man, and 5% about hurting me. He said that neither me or my AP were talked about when they went away together, that if he hadn't done it, we wouldn't be reconciling at all. Our MC disagreed with him. This led to the first time my husband broke down over the affair, that him fucking someone else might have hurt me. It wasn't anywhere near what I did, that I had insulted him, called him an awful husband and father, planned a life with my AP, fallen in love and had another life outside him, that if we hadn't been caught, I would have divorced him without ever admitting what I did. Again, our MC tried to talk about affair fog, and that got him angrier. Said that was a bullshit excuse and compared it to being drunk in regards to telling the truth about how you really feel about someone. No filter. He walked out afterwards. Since then, he hasn't spoken to me. He's right, and that kills me. I did say all those things. Obviously, my affair affected how I saw my husband, but that doesn't matter to him. I can't unring that bell. Has anyone been in a similar situation? I don't know what to do. Edit. I've come clean to everyone that I lied to about my affair, how I made myself the victim and twisted the narrative to make him out to be a monster. I brought my husband when I told my parents that every conversation we had about him and the state of our marriage was an attempt to make myself look better. I also know I waited too long to do this. This last year, I have owned everything. My counseling has helped a lot. I am remorseful, and I know that sounds like bullshit, that my own issues and being selfish ruined him. I want him to know he didn't do anything. I want him to be the man I love again, even if he decides to move on. I don't want to say fix because there wasn't anything wrong with him, but to help what I broke in him. I know that my actions did that. Edit 2. Part of why I cheated was I felt like my husband didn't see me as a desirable woman anymore. He saw me as a wife and mother, and we both stopped doing those romantic things for each other. The spontaneity had fizzled a little. I never said anything to him about it. Like my counselor said, I expected him to be a mind reader. And when he didn't, my resentment grew. When my affair started, I pulled away completely, and he did become shitty to me, justifiably so because I was being a shitty wife. Same with working so much and not being able to spend time with our daughter. My hours were cut because of COVID. He picked up the slack and was working 60 HRS a week sometimes. His job is very physically demanding, so by Friday he dead. So yeah, he wasn't there as much, but it wasn't by choice. But again, I didn't see it that way. I know if anything ends our marriage, it's the way I acted immediately after I was caught. He's told me part of the reason he cheated was because of how I acted, that our marriage was effectively over. I know he's right, but it still hurts. And now I'm feeling just a fraction of what he went through. Edit 3. When I was younger, I wasn't popular and boys didn't like me in high school. It wasn't till college that I bloomed. I lost weight and started to gain some self-confidence. But I still have low self-esteem. Body issues still see myself as the overweight girl from high school. That I was never good enough for my husband. All my boyfriends before my husband treated me awful because of those issues. With my AP, it was first time I'd felt in control and the more attractive one. To give you an idea, my husband laughed when saw what my AP looked like. So after I had our baby, I put on some weight again, which sent me spiraling a little. Couple that with the slowdown in the romance in our marriage, and it created a perfect storm in my head. Not justifying it, but these are things I've talked with my counselor about. This also plays a part in my husband's affair. She's younger, skinnier, basically the polar opposite of what I am. I'm definitely going to bring up the timeline and how I justified it to my counselor. Writing it out would allow me to make sure I don't say something wrong and give him concrete answers. We're not seeing that MC again, that's for sure. I'll talk to my IC about finding another one. My husband will never go to IC. He doesn't believe in them at all. I don't think it's right to call your husband's fling an affair. By his own admission, he thought you were done with the marriage, so by the time he stepped out, he thought he didn't have a wife. And he was honest about what he was doing. You're focusing entirely too much on his affair when you should be focusing on the pain you caused him. All this started because you stepped out. If you want to have any chance at all of making this work for your child's sake at least, do not bring up how he slept with AP's wife. That is immaterial here. You should have been doing all the work trying to reconcile, but instead he's doing it all. You need to be grateful he's willing to reconcile at all. Stop trying to mess your chances OP. Fully commit to reconciliation. Also, please change that counselor ASAP. Comments. Come on, girl. Time to face facts. While there is one view that says it's not a competition, what you did was way worse. First off, it was a 6-month affair, but the worst is the gaslighting and victim mentality to your friends and family. You did that at the expense of him. While I'm not condoning him sleeping with OBS, I sounds like you had pushed him away so much with your bad behavior and trickle-truthing that he didn't even see you as being in a relationship anymore. And you see a hash yourself, he asked for a divorce. The most important step for a wayward wanting reconciling is to show empathy and remorse and own up for what you did. You don't seem to be doing that, and these interactions with this MC are making it worse. Obviously, my affair affected how I saw my husband, but that doesn't matter to him. I want you to read what I quoted a few times, and then ask yourself what sense it makes. I'm being serious. Like, what kind of whack justification is that? Him. All that shit you talked about me, all the lies you told about me, and you fell in love with your AP and were planning on leaving me. That has destroyed me completely. You. But because I was in an affair, it made me see you differently. That should count for something. If your son or brother came to you and told you that their wife said that to them, what would go through your mind? UMC sucks. They are minimizing what you did to him, and your husband correctly called them out on it. Getting a new MC would probably be the first step I would take. The hard part isn't the cheating, but that part is bad. It's everything else you did after. The blame shifting, the minimizing, the gaslighting, the lying, the name-calling. That hurts worse than the cheating. What you did after you were caught is what he is having a hard time dealing with. All you can do is accept responsibility for what you did and hope he can forgive you. Just be prepared for the fact that he may never be able to forgive you, and you will just have to live that if that's what he says. Hurt people, hurt people. I think your husband and the OBS spouse were and are extremely hurt and just trying to do anything to ease the pain. Not that any of this is okay. I will never cheat on my husband as revenge for his affair. I never wanted him to hurt like I have. He was an ass the first year too. The first 6 months after, I also was fake friends with his AP so I could learn who this girl was and get all the details. A huge mistake, but everyone handles trauma differently. I say that people do weird shit when they are hurt and or suffering. Grieving is what he was doing. the death of his dream for your marriage. Your AP didn't steal your relationship from your husband. He stole everything it could have been. Get a different therapist. Seriously, good luck.